Hi, Olga here. In this video I'm going to create two Slimline cards using the products from the new music collection by Paper Discovery. To create the background for both cards, I'll be using new musical panels die set. That one consists of a cutting outline plus two different inserts, the musical notes and the piano keyboard. By the way, these dies are the same size as the Paper Discovery panel dies that were released previously, so those new products are going to coordinate with all the older ones. Let's move on to the first card. I have created a card base out of cream cardstock and the size of it is 2 3/4 by 6 3/4. I have also pre-cut a smaller panel out of Kraft cardstock and this one measures 2.5 by 6.5. Now I'm just going to use the liquid glue and stick down the panel on top of the card base. Now I'm going to use a cream cardstock again and I'm placing both the outline and musical insert onto the cardstock, taping them down and sending them through the die cutting machine. And this is the patterned panel that we should get. By the way, the insert panel, when used on its own, is totally expandable, so you can create any size backgrounds with it. The cut-out little notes can also be used on other projects on their own, and they also can make great shaker card fillers. I'm using the liquid adhesive again to attach this patterned panel onto the card front. The background is now finished and I'm ready to move on to the focal images. This focal image is going to be a cluster of string instruments and I'm going to use different color wood grain papers. The ones that I'm using are by Kraft Consortium. The dies that I'll be using are from the new set that is called String Ensemble. Here we have a violin, a viola and a cello. There's also a double bass, but I'm not going to use it for this particular project. I've die cut all the images from different papers and this is what they look like. Here I have the same images die cut out of black cardstock and I'm going to use those black outlines to back up the patterned paper images. So first of all, with those black images I want the F-holes to stay on place, so I'm going to attach a piece of washi tape at the back side. If the hole does happen to fall out, you just have to place it back and tape it down at the wrong side. I'm not sure that you can see it on a patterned paper, but the die also creates the string image by embossing it. I'm going to use that embossed image as a guide and I'm going to cut it out with the scissors. This way I'm going to create a fingerboard that is going to be black. I'm just cutting this portion out of the wood grain image. With the cello image I'm also going to cut out the end pin portion as well, exactly the same way. With the smaller images for viola and the violin, I'm only going to cut out the fingerboard. This step is totally optional, but it's a great way to make those images even more realistic. Now I just have to use the liquid adhesive again and I will be attaching the wood grain paper images onto the black backgrounds. This way I'm also providing a bit more sturdiness to those die cuts, which we're going to need later on. And now let's go ahead and attach all three images onto the card front. I'm going to start with the smaller one, which is the violin. I'm attaching the first image flat onto the card, so I'm using just a liquid glue. The next larger image is going to overlap the first one, so I'm combining a piece of foam tape and a liquid glue to level up everything. And for the third largest image, I'll be using a double layer of foam tape plus the liquid glue. To fill in the empty spaces, I'm going to use the notes as well as musical flourishes, and these ones are from the grand piano die set from the same collection. By the way, if you want to add a sentiment to this card, this bottom part is the perfect spot for it. But this time I'm going to go without the sentiment, so I'm just using the embellishments. I am attaching the largest image at the bottom of the card, and I'll be using the smaller one to fill in the empty spots. So that finishes the first card, and I think that this type of card will also work great for invitations. For the card number 2, I have created a card base and a panel that are exactly the same size as the previous one. I just used different colors. This time it's black and white because this card is going to represent a piano keyboard. And just like before, I'm going to start by attaching the panel onto the card base, and this way it's going to form a thin border all around it. Now I'm going to use a panel die, and again I'm combining it with the rectangle outline. I'm taping down both dies and sending them through the machine. This is the image that we should get. It cuts out the black keys as well as the outlines. All we have to do now is to attach it onto the white background. I have applied some glue to the wrong side. Now I'm centering this image on my card front. I'm just making sure that the black keys are facing the fold. This time I'm gonna be adding a sentiment to my card. There are 2 stamp sets included in this collection, and I'll be using the phrase from one of them. I'm just stamping it out using the black ink over the white cardstock. I have cut out the sentiment, then I backed it up with a piece of red cardstock, and now I'm sticking it down onto my card using some foam tape. And that finishes the second card for today. Since this card is great for mass production and it also can be standing on a table, I think it can be great as a place card as well. You just have to write down the names of your guests instead of the sentiment. I hope I have given you an idea on how you can use the panel dies and how you can put together the string instrument images as well. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned because more fun videos are coming soon.